Alright guys, time to grab it back again today. Hope you're enjoying your day so far. Today we're going to talk about the state of Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War right now. Yesterday, Clayster kind of leaked a gentleman's agreement list as it stands right now on stream last night, and that's a pretty interesting topic to go through. No streaks, a number of perks seem to be banned out the game right now, the amount of smokes, the amount of trophies the players are going to be allowed to use, and really streaks is the interesting question once again. The last couple of titles, streaks have been gentleman's agreemented out of the game, and this game of course the streaks run very differently indeed to what they would do in a normal Call of Duty game. A lot of the pros seem to think, well, streaks, we would love to have them back in competitive, but in their current state, it's just not feasible to do so. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. On the verge of 36,000 subscribers. We've been rocketing up these sub counts these last few days. Crazy to see. Thank you very much once again. This comes out from Nameless yesterday. Satellite S&D can kick rocks. There was this tournament that went on yesterday. I think it was the Dallas Empire Battle of the Throne or something they were calling it, but they were playing Satellite Search and Destroy, and definitely brings up a question we'll come back to later in the video. What actually are the good Search and Destroy maps in this game as it stands right now? That's kind of another discussion around the state of the game more generally, but I do think that things are going to be improving on that front relatively soon indeed. Waskin says this on the Rostermania side, who's got a grudge against me, and well mentions that my bro is good and that's all that matters, so possibly saying that Scraps has something lined up in terms of on a professional team next season. Paris of course will be the only realistic option remaining in the Call of Duty Pro League for 2021. Where exactly is Waskin going to be? Who really knows right now? And a couple of other things you guys have been pointing out to me on the Rostermania front. This came out from Clayster yesterday, and well, you might not be able to see it if I zoom in, but basically on the left hand side here, Clayster, Asim, Zuma and Mac were playing against the Minnesota Rocker squad. So it seems like right now, I mean, Parasite's been filling in for these guys in some Search and Destroy tournaments these last few days, but it seems like Asim is now filling in as their their second SMG, in addition to Zuma with Mac as the flex. And with Hydra stuck in Europe, with visa situations questionable, who knows what New York are going to do, right? They do need a fifth player, they do need someone, you know, you have to have a substitute in the CDL, so you've brought on Hydra, you need to have another player. Asim, in my opinion, would be probably the perfect fifth player to have, and then who do you start over Asim and Hydra? That is a question mark. Maybe Hydra's kind of concerned right now that Asim is getting that opportunity, so it could be a possibility for Asim to actually get a spot in the Pro League, which I would love to see. I think are certainly very much deserving. I mean, of course, playing with the Minnesota Rocker squad last season as well. People pointing this out to me as well from Blaz, like locked up, what does that potentially mean? But I'm pretty sure he confirmed he's playing in the Challengers side this season. This is what then came out from Clayster yesterday, current list of gentlemen's agreements, and well, he flashes it up on the stream right here, exactly what that might potentially look like before rushing back into the game itself. So this is a look in greater detail, a very early, of course, gentlemen's agreement list. We're only a few days in. If you guys are unaware what GA really stands for, gentlemen's agreement means effectively the pro players decide between them for various reasons that things shouldn't be allowed in competitive play are technically allowed in the rule sets, but yeah, they're just not good for competitive integrity, or they reduce the skill gap or things like that. And I certainly think that some of this is reasonable, right? The idea that you could potentially run 4 smokes on your team in respawn, that could be, well, something that probably shouldn't be allowed, and there's a degree to which it would be nice to have implemented into the competitive rule set that only one of your players is allowed to run smoke, or 2 in Search and Destroy, what the pros have decided to do. So they always kind of tweak the game slightly to make it better to play and hopefully better to watch at a professional level. And I think to some degree GAs are valid in certain instances. Sometimes the pros certainly go too far though, and well, it'd be nice to have a discussion really, or at least an open channel of communication between the pros and the CDL and the developers to decide, okay, what do we actually implement into the rule set so that these rules are then implemented, for example, into like league play and game battles matches and stuff like that. So well, everyone's playing the same game that the pros are. That would be nice to see, but yeah, maybe something that will happen in a few months time. Of course, this is a very, very early list indeed, and maybe things will even continue to get tweaked. So this is what it stands at right now. No gearhead, so this is one of the perks. We'll go into exactly what it does here in a second. Lawbreaker, which is the no overkill side. It allows you to run like 2 perks and 1 perk slot, I believe, but it's the overkill one which is a bit of a problem, and I think that is fair enough, especially given how strong sniper rifles are right now. Only allowing each team to run 2 trophies, because trophies are very strong in the current iteration of the game, especially with gearhead in play. And I think, I forget who it was, maybe Nameless was suggesting that just having an EMP in this game, like you had back in the Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 days, would be a way to go, because then you could get rid of trophies through walls and stuff like that. Maybe you chuck on Engineer, then, you know, maybe it would actually help improve the balance of the game to some degree. You're allowed 2 assault packs, 1 smoke in the respawn game mode, 2 in Search and Destroy, no tactical rifles, so the M16, the AUG, not allowed. The thermal is also banned. I'm pretty sure I played a video, or played a clip at the end of a couple of videos ago with Attach using the thermal, I think the thermal FFAR or something. It's absolutely disgusting, especially on a map like Cartel, and very much not like the Black Ops 1 thermal you guys might remember, which is very difficult to use indeed. This time it seems to be very very easy, kind of like the Black Ops 2 dual ban, to be honest. And well, that is apparently banned from competitive play as well, from what the pros think about it right now. Then you've got no streaks as well. And this is the thing, right? In Modern Warfare, streaks were banned, or at least a gentleman's agreement is out of competitive play for the first time in a while. And I think streaks definitely add something to competitive. They definitely add a tactical element to the game where, you know, some players are better at getting streaks than other players. Like, there's a degree to which, okay, I'm close to a streak. Does that mean that I bait my teammate, or does that mean that it's still more valuable for me to go out there and die just so that we can, like, you know, get that space and break this hill, for example? There's a lot of interesting questions and an interesting dynamic that bringing streaks into the game actually brings. However, in this game, they're not really streaks, right? Because no one really understands the score streak system. At some point, you just happen to get your streaks. I think if you do go on a very long streak, it starts to, like, multiply rapidly how close you get towards these score streaks. Otherwise, you just have to get enough kills throughout the course of a game, and you'll probably get there eventually if there's a few 2 or 3 streaks thrown into the mix. So it does seem like right now the pros are just going to get rid of them and not have them in competitive play, which I do think would be a miss, and I really do hope that, well, the developers and Treyarch can get something sorted so that things change somewhat for, well, competitive play as opposed to public match play. I kind of understand the idea that everyone gets their streak in public matches. Maybe it's Activision driven, right? The lower tier players can get streaks no problem at all if they just, well, get a few kills and get to right at the end of the game. But I think in competitive play, it does need to be very clear that after 750 points, you get your Hellstorm or your Cruise Missile or whatever it's called, and this type of stuff, right? And if that was the case, I think it would be very good and would add something certainly to competitive play. And Ace certainly agrees. He says, we desperately need score streaks in competitive CoDs. For many reasons, it also punishes bad play. But notably, the current streak system is just anti-competitive, and I'm praying it changes at least for competitive play. I think he's right in terms of punishing bad play, in terms of the fact that if you're just going to run into me again and again and again and feed the other team's streaks by bashing a hill, like by head bashing a hill, I suppose, and not really playing for rotations and stuff like that, then, you know, you're going to get punished because the other team is going to get streaks. And even Dr. Disrespect comes back into this one. I agree, as a spectator, score streaks are a great dynamic for comp. They brought the monotony of gun-on-gun strat / positioning with every single round. It's a grey area, but I think Treyarch could implement something that feels rewarding and deepens the level of strategy. But as score streaks are currently implemented, that will just not work. So let's talk briefly about some of these perks as well. So Gearhead, this reduces the field upgrade cooldown. People have been running Gearhead and trophies. You just get trophies absolutely all the time. So it seems like this is probably too strong because you get to have 2 field upgrade charges and also reduces the cooldown. You've also got Lawbreaker as well, which, as we said, this is like the overkill thing where you can equip any weapon class in either slot. And there's certainly some discussion around the other wild cards as well. The Perk Greed one, the Gunfighter one, potentially also being too strong. So I'm certainly intrigued to hear your thoughts on that in the comment section below. We get this as well from Adam Killer Slots. These websites need to ban Perk Greed, as we just discussed. And Silly says, I'm using a Tomahawk off the rip because everyone right now has Flak Jacket and Tac Mask because they've got the Perk Greed stuff going on, and therefore Nades and Sons are practically useless in the current game. And Khan even says, honestly, I'd run Engineer, but for some reason it's banned in some of these rule sets, and well, he doesn't think it certainly should be in this case. Killer also comes out to discuss some of the maps in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War as well. That is certainly an interesting discussion right now, in that, well, as we discussed right at the start of the video, Satellite Search and Destroy, what maps actually make sense for competitive. And he says that the Garrison's the worst map. Slasher even says, I don't know, why don't we just give it some time to see how things play out, which is, kind of anti what Slasher would usually be about, but it's kind of funny to see him say something like this on the timeline. And then to continue on from this discussion is BreakingPoint.gg say, now that we've seen how Black Ops Cold War maps play in Search, what would be the 5 maps you would pick for competitive if you had to? So it's pretty interesting. I think certainly Crossroads I quite like. Miami I can actually accept that for Search and Destroy. I think for Search is okay. Garrison I kind of like as a map. Moscow certainly should be in there. So then I guess if I'm choosing these 4, I have to choose one more. I'm not a big fan of Armada Strike, not a big fan of Cartel, even though it's not too bad. Satellite is certainly a no-go, and well, Checkmate could be okay. So I think possibly Checkmate, Crossroads, Moscow, Miami, and Garrison. Possibly instead of Checkmate, I'd choose Cartel. But yeah, I'm intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I really didn't like USS Texas. Anything that reminds me of it makes me somewhat sick to my stomach. And there's also this part of the discussion that if we could get some of these old maps back from Black Ops 2, which one would you choose? Me personally, Raid Standoff are coming back without a question in my mind. And Slums would be great as well. Meltdown for Search and Destroy. Hopefully we do get at least one of these back over the course of the season. Hopefully in the next few months, before the game actually goes into competitive play. I'm very hopeful that we might get, Treyarch might deliver the goods and bring some of these maps back, because I can't imagine how well this game would play on some of these maps. It's well, an exciting prospect in theory. I just hope we get the opportunity to do so. Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.
Yep.
Come on, B. Yeah, 2-1-B, 2-1-B. Oh, he's one
left.
shot.
Nice.
One super weak in there. Nice. What the?
The bomb has been planted.
Nice.
Only one hostile remains. Hunt them down.
Oh, you are nice, bro.
Bro.
Bro. This guy is